Welcome to the Assist Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Schwartz, and today we are doing the first episode of, hopefully a couple, of reviewing some of the things that everyone's been watching during this horrible quarantine, and there is no other show to lead off this series than Tiger King. And to review that, we have assembled here at the Assist Podcast headquarters a resounding all-star team of guests composed of Salvador Corona, Emily Woolheiser, and
Hello.
Katie Justiniani. How is everybody?
Hi, I didn't know we were supposed to say hello.
Off to a great start. How you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
Yeah, we're surviving. We're moving along here. Yesterday,
good.
I got the Wi-Fi plug pulled out when I was in the meeting, so that was good.
Terrible.
But yeah, we're moving, and this series has made things a lot better than I thought. And I do have to say, being the last one to watch it, after hearing everything that was in it and everything described, it was still more amazing than I could have ever imagined.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I know you were like you were so kind of against watching it at first because it was so mainstream. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it's like a thing with me. I'm just like, if anything's big, even if it's like a song or an album, I have to wait like 2 weeks then to consume it. I don't know why.
I like to be on it, in with the hype.
I agree.
I'm a bad boy.
Okay.
Sal, I wanted you to lead with it because I believe, if my memory serves me correct, you were the one to discover this, or at least mention it in our group text for the first time, maybe on the day it came out. So I have to say, for everyone else that watched it, I heard about it. I think Katie watched it very soon afterwards, as did Emily as well. But for the people who you didn't have any knowledge of what it was, you literally just saw it on Netflix. Like, how did that go? I'm just curious. You're like, what is this? And then, oh my God.
So actually, I was I saw it on Instagram. I forget who posted it. It was a celebrity.
James, I think.
No. Oh no, it was Drake. He put like craziest show ever or something like that on like his Instagram story. And that was like a day before I like started watching it, and then I don't know, I think it was like a Monday morning. We were bored, and I told Emily, I think we should watch this show. So we started watching it, and then we're like, holy crap, this is crazy. And then we were hooked. At first, I was skeptical about it because I'm like, do I really want to watch a freaking show about tigers? Because that's what I thought it was going to be about. But as we know, it's way more than that.
And then, Katie, you watched the whole thing with your family.
I did.
How is that? I just could not imagine watching with my parents, even though I tried to get them to.
It wasn't that bad. I think for all of the really bizarre and uncomfortable topics, like when they spoke about his penis piercing, and he was marrying 2 men at once, and I'm in a very, very strict Catholic household. I think all of that was kind of canceled out with how chaotic and exciting it all was to watch, because I've said it before, it really was like a dumpster fire. Like, we knew it was terrible, but we couldn't look away,
Yeah. And maybe, like, I'm naive, but I didn't know you could be married to more than 2 people at once. I thought that was like an issue.
Probably in certain states.
I don't know. I don't think I'm sure whatever he was doing wasn't legal with getting married. He didn't really care about laws anyways. I don't know how Oklahoma laws are, though. He wanted to be governor, so he probably would know more than us.
Let's see. I'm trying to look up legal thruples.
Yeah, I just
Thruples? Is that what it's
laws
called?
on polygamy.
Let's see. Oh, it happens in Montana. That makes sense.
I found it. So marrying more than one person is bigamy in Oklahoma, and that is not a common crime, but it does occur and is a felony offense.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so Joe Exotic's a felon. Would have never guessed.
For more than we know.
Yeah.
Just add on that charge to his jail sentence. So I mean, I truly like, I don't even know where to start with this, just because of how crazy it was. But I guess we can do this with Joe Exotic, the lead character, the Tiger King. He's one of those people that, like, you watch the UFC and they have like 6 different names for every person, and they just keep going on and on and on. Bruce Buffer with his poor voice. I just feel like Joe Exotic, you have so many titles, failed governor bid, felon, hiring murder person, Carole Baskin, antagonist, like all this different stuff came out during this show, and I part of me can't even believe that he's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those things, if you were to watch it as a scripted television show, you'd think it was so stupid, but then the fact that it's real, it's like you can't stop watching because it's actually something that happened.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Unbelievable.
So we get, I can't even remember which episode's which, but we get the opening to this whole world of big cats and then being bought in America. And I know they had it in the documentary, but there's the fact that there's more tigers in captivity than there are in the rest of the world, like in the wild, which I think, Katie, was a thing brought up on one of Joe Rogan's specials a while ago. He had a whole bit about it, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
So, but just going in and like, I figured that this kind of existed in a way. First of all, I didn't know a tiger you could buy for $2,000. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was probably one of the most shocking things of the whole show for me. Because, like, I don't know, you'd think of a tiger as such a luxury to have. Like, I easily thought it would be at least 10 grand or 15 grand.
Yeah, it makes sense for sure. And I mean, just
much.
Yeah, I just, so I don't know. Maybe the tiger economy is going down now with everything that comes out. So this it comes out, whatever. Apparently 34 million people have watched this over the first 10 days, which is, it's always weird to get like Netflix and streaming numbers. It's not just like a TV rating, but that is a large number, which is wild. So Joe Exotic has this park in Oklahoma somewhere. I don't even know. Wynwood, Oklahoma. So GW Zoo. And the thing is too, that I think that they didn't touch on this too much, but I mean, it's more than tigers as well.
Right. They had Michael Jackson's alligators.
Yes, which died in a fire.
Yes.
Tragic.
Yeah.
And then another main person in this who is also involved in all of the big cat, animal, whatever shenanigans is Doc Antler, who I think is might be worse than Joe Exotic, if that's even possible. He's introduced.
Terrible.
He's introduced in the Carolinas, I want to say. Sorry, looking through the very reliable source of Wikipedia. Okay, Emily's more reliable. So yeah, the Carolinas. And he's riding an elephant, which love elephants. Didn't know there were any here. That's crazy. And then, of course...
like to point out that Doc Antler is a doctor of mystical science. That's where the doctor comes from.
I know. I hated that so much.
I think that's interesting.
That's a tough look for J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
I feel like, that I'm thinking about, there's a lot of things that don't get too good of a look outside of the main 3 people. Like Oklahoma, like Joe Exotic had like 20% of the vote. Like, are we
yeah, that's something.
Like, I know I joke about Ohio being country and stuff, but Joe Exotic would not be able to run for governor here. I mean, that's bad.
I mean, genuinely, I don't think this campaign was a failure, because to get, I think it was like 11% of the vote. That's a lot of people, in comparison to like an actual candidate.
Right.
So it's a success.
I'd say so too.
I love that his campaign manager was just like this random white guy. This random white guy, like, who just graduated school, and he's like, "Yeah, awesome, this is gonna be great." And then he's like, "Oh my god, what have I done?"
Oh, I know. I love, like, really favorite lines was, he was like, "Yeah, he approached me. I was like, of course, this is my dream job." And I was like, Like,
Are you sure?
like, if it's your dream, like, you'd want your dream job to be like a political campaign manager, but I think you would want it to be of an actual campaign, not just the title.
Right. I agree completely. I mean, he's
the other crazy part with the campaign manager is like the fact that he stood around way past his whole campaign. Like he just liked it and didn't want to leave Joe Exotic, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's part of like this whole thing, right? And it's like one of the, I don't know if it's a lesson of the show, but like you see it come up with multiple people that people are just like, I love Joe, and like not love Joe, but like they stay around him. Like he gets not one but two younger guys who it turns out actually kind of three if you count the last one too. Yeah, who aren't gay, and they end up marrying him.
Yeah, that's insane.
So predatory. Hate it.
To the I know Emily said her name in our pre-show meeting, but the woman who loses her arm and then continues to work right away. Like what?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know if they're under some sort of trance, or I mean, they talked about how he would supply them with drugs, but I feel like no amount of drugs could make you do that.
Well, one thing that I kind of made myself get into reason with, he did help people a little bit. Like in the beginning of their jobs, he would find people on the streets who were drug addicts and were homeless, and that was a little cool that he gave them jobs that were incredibly underpaid. But I think since then they felt a little bit indebted to him and almost started to get a little bit of Stockholm syndrome when he started to mistreat them so much, but that was the only place they could go.
Yeah, that makes sense. And even like some of the characters, like the blonde hair guy named Eric, like he talked a bunch about how he was literally just there for the cats. So like I think the guy, Kelsey, who got his arm bit off, like he was there for the cats. So some of them actually were there for the right intent. But
wait, guy who got the arm bit off?
Yes,
that is a conflict of interest in how he was portrayed in the show as a she.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes by he.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm okay for my previous transgression. I'm not going to get excommunicated from Twitter or something for
not like
for saying
you said it with malicious intent.
The show, like everyone thought he was just like a she that presented that dressed masculine, but
he's transgender.
Yes.
Okay. I apologize to the person who got their arm bitten off for misgendering them. So the other point I wanted to make, though, talking about the kind of aura of these guys, like we're talking about Joe, is also Doc Antler does this insanely well. Because I would say, I want to say the middle episodes, there was like a good half an episode probably of time dedicated to him. We got to know him pretty well, unfortunately. And it's just very clear, from, 5 minutes in, and I know I watched this all with Katie, watching her for a second time. He ran a sex cult, and that's...
Yeah.
The show just kind of skips over that, and I get it. I mean, it's Tiger King. He's not necessarily the focus, but I feel like if you're going to bring him in, and then you're just kind of like... you realize what's happening, and then there's like, all right, next person. And it's like, whoa, like, we're just going to ignore that?
And Doc, in all his interviews, had like the nerve to talk about Joe and how bad he was and all this stuff. And then he's like on his golf cart giving a tour of all like his woman's houses. And I don't know. It was very wrong.
I agree. It was really weird because I feel like we could have gotten more content from the show, but Doc was really on it. I remember one interview with him, they were leading him up to ask him if this was like a sex cult or if the people he had in were able to leave, and he kind of threw it back at them. It was like, I know what you're trying to ask me, and they can leave whenever they want, and got really defensive. Do you guys remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I think he was just as bad as Joe, but he was a more polished version who knew how to like present himself in a way that they couldn't get on him.
Yeah, I feel like Doc, in a way, is just the smarter person because Joe Exotic was so confident. And so, you know, like, his aura was there, but he was aware of it in a way, and, like, he was using it and just literally thought he was invincible because he owned like, hundreds and hundreds of these wild animals. Like, you know, with the governor thing we were talking about earlier, like, he genuinely thought he was going to win, you know? And that, one, is ludicrous, and it's just truly insane. And, I mean, I also think, you know, I don't want to go accusing people of, you know, having psychological issues, but I mean, his obsessiveness with Carole Baskin is rough, and that's where I think, you know, Doc Antler is smart, because he's just like, look, these two are fighting, I'm just going to sit back here and do the exact same shit, and no one's going to care. And then he got exposed in the show, of course. But, you know, in terms of being a businessman, like, Joe Exotic ran his business to the ground. And, I mean, to my knowledge, I believe Doc Antler's thing is still going. Let's go ahead and click this link here to his Wikipedia page. What do you guys think about that?
You got rated in December.
Oh, really?
Sal,
Yeah.
did you say? I thought you told me that.
No, I didn't say that, but I think I heard you say that.
Oh,
I think your mom might have said that.
I don't know about my facts then. I don't want
Antle's facility was raided in 2019 during a federal investigation, so pre the show.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I know one thing about, like, the whole Doc Antler thing. He was... Well, I know Joe Exotic had celebrities come to his, like, shack, but Doc Antler had a ton of celebrities, like, many, like, different kind of, like, YouTubers and even, like, sports professional athletes would go to, like, his zoo for, like, clout and pose with the tigers and pose with these different animals. So, like, there's many people that are kind of in support of this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking at.
I had a picture. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't think. Oh, I was saying, I had a picture years ago at the zoo, and I think my mom was saying it could have been connected to Doc Antler because he used to work with the zoo in Miami of the animals, and I think just back then people didn't realize, and even people visiting the zoo, they think that how the animals are treated, they're treated fairly, and, like, obviously now it's more popular to know that it's not right, but still, people don't really know, and especially celebrities. I think they know, but it's what they said about the whole culture of posing with a cat is cool and whatever.
Right. They brought up a lot about kind of the sex appeal of being able to use those animals, and they based their sex cults off of that a lot of the times. Just, it was so bizarre.
Want to circle back to one thing I was looking at. The celebrities who visited Doc Antler includes Beyonce. So for all the
wow,
Beyonce is God people out there, that's a tough
the
look.
Beehive.
Beehive is gonna come after you.
Go ahead, I'm ready. I'm ready. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing too that we've gone 18 minutes, roughly, and Carole Baskin has not come up.
I think we have to talk about her.
Okay, we can give a little intro to her, then we could just dive in on other things that we just cannot believe from this documentary still. So Carole Baskin is let me make sure I get their title right before she tries to kill me along with her husband. Is the CEO of Big Cat Rescue, located in Tampa, Florida, which I believe, you know, based on the name, is involved in trying to shut down these kind of you know, but big zoos with these exotic animals and such, big animal rights activists. And really, I mean, I believe she's targeting both Doc Antler and Joe Exotic, but really, I mean, the Joe Exotic and Carole Baskin love-hate is just really probably the epicenter of the whole show, and it ends up getting Joe thrown into jail due to some just wild actions. So yeah, Carole Baskin. So you would think in this type of documentary she would be the hero of it, you know, something like that. And she is not. Would anyone want to take the lead on why?
I could talk about her for a little.
There we go.
I mean, yeah, when you first watch it, she looks like this, like, dreamy, hippie type lady with her little flower crown talking about the cats and whatever. And I think it was after the first, or at the end of the first or second episode, when they like dropped the whole thing about her husband disappearing and her being involved in the murder. And you're just like, like, I wonder. And then just as you see, one of the big things for me was when she showed the whole volunteering scheme operation, like within Big Cat Rescue, and how there's so many levels to it. None of them are paid. And just when you see how the cats live and just how she is with her new husband, you start to see that she's like completely full of it. And the whole facade of it being for the cats is just, I don't believe it. And to me, it doesn't look any better than any of the other zoos, what she's trying to save them from.
Absolutely. I agree. I remember looking throughout all the episodes, more and more stuff would come up on her. And her past was one of the biggest things that bothered me. Like, I really wanted to root for this woman, but I couldn't. Because she ended up being a millionaire based off of scamming her ex-husband.
Yeah.
And she has videos in the past of her saying how to do it, and they're so sketchy. She was saying how some things could happen by accident that would lead you into a big sum of money. And it still is baffling that it took so long to reopen the case of her husband's murder.
Well, and then we also have the people who are saying that we should instead be rooting for her for getting out of an abusive relationship, and that Joe Exotic is the problem, and we shouldn't be after Carole Baskin. But I do not think she's the woman that we should be rooting for. I don't think it's a great example of the woman to be rooting for, or an animal rights activist, or anything at all. I think she is crazier than Joe.
Wow. Crazier than Joe.
I respect Joe more because he's doing his time, and like, he's kind of in denial, but not fully in denial. She's fully like living a facade.
She's
I agree with Emily. I don't think Joe's in denial that much. He accepts what he does. He loves the tigers, he really does, but he knows he's profiting off of them, and he's putting on these shows to get money. But he totally buys into his whole zoo thing. But Carole Baskin frames it as her trying to save the tigers, but she's also profiting of all this. And also, like Emily said, she's kind of finessing her volunteers, making it seem like they're kind of leveling up in this chain of volunteers and making them work for free. But then another thing about, I think I saw it on recently somewhere on Twitter probably, so I don't know if it's 100% reliable, but the lawyer of the husband she supposedly killed came out and said that he believes that Carole Baskin, either hers hired someone to like strangle the husband and throw him out of the plane and into the ocean.
Oh my
God.
That's why they can't find him.
Well,
wow.
That's a good tactic.
Yeah.
That was the lawyer that was in the show, right?
I think so, yeah. Because
he was like, I'm not allowed to say anything. And it's just like, yeah, we know. We know what you think. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's so crazy, especially because they did have the whole, they kind of had, like, I don't remember the exact episodes, but they kind of had like an episode mostly focused on her, and they went through her backstory, and it's just like, well, all these pieces fit into this, and especially with the fact that, it's very clear with her treatment toward her second husband, or I don't know what number it is, the husband that's in the show, is that he's whipped like a little dog, like a mush dog, traveling across Alaska. Like, goodness, this man, I don't even know what he was wearing, but I remember he literally put on a collar, and it's like,
their wedding photos.
Even guys who are whipped, when the collar comes out, they're like, no.
It might literally not be whipped, like,
yeah.
How he...
Like, I mean, I don't even know how that developed. So it would make sense to me that, she had a multi-million-dollar husband, the first husband, and he didn't want to be controlled. Like, people shouldn't be controlled. And alas, possibly it was a murder. So we all agreed, that she killed him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Boom. There we go. Lock her up. You should reprint the Hillary shirts or whatever that Trump used.
Oh my gosh, Hillary for prison.
Who are
Yes.
they going to have for jurors in this case? Because I feel like everyone kind of knows about this. If they have like a full-on trial about it,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that'll be interesting. Like the amount of people that they'll have to weed out because they all watch the show and probably have bias.
It's going to be like these 70-plus-year-old people that,
Yeah.
that are like have no connection into like the mainstream life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
I
like
would do anything to be on that jury. That'd be so
yeah,
fun.
exactly. I feel like they're gonna have to weed people out who are too excited. They're just like before the trial even starts, they're like, "Yeah, she's guilty. Convict. We're done with this already. Let's go home."
Funny.
But yeah, I mean, it's like Carole talks about her noble intentions, but I still I told this to Katie, and I just feel like Carole talks about how great cats are and how disrespected they are and all this stuff. But like if she got hit by or like bumped by a poor person in the street, Carole would just tell him to F off and move on, and like would you know what I mean? Like does not care about people as much, and it's like okay, like I don't support stuff that's going on in the show because I remember I asked halfway through. As to Katie, I was like, why can't they just release these animals into the world? And she's like, well, if you do that, they're going to get destroyed because they're in like a desensitized environment.
Yeah.
Like that's a good point. Didn't know that. So like I don't agree with this practice at all. And the fact that there are more tigers here than there are in Africa is ludicrous. But it's just like none of these people are good to me, And Carole's in that as well. I don't understand. Her motives in the sense of her personality, how she tries to do it and all this stuff. It just none of it sat right with me. I don't know about you guys.
She reminds me of an adult version of a horse girl.
Oh my goodness, yes.
But like,
It's true
yeah,
though.
I think she really just wanted to paint herself as a good person. So when she did all of this sketchy stuff, people wouldn't be able to pick up on it as much, and people would side with her. Like just because you say that you're a sanctuary and like you talk to PETA and you're both like, yeah, I don't think cats should be abused, then people just saw her as a good person, and that's how she gained her little army of cool cats and kittens.
Oh my gosh. I just that.
Yeah, it's tough because I mean it is I think a worthy cause, but also another thing I want to ask you guys, Sal, you kind of talked about this like how the cubs and stuff and tigers are used like as a tool for other people and celebrities and stuff. Am I the only person that just doesn't get it? Like, in the zoo as a kid, I was like, okay, those are kind of cool. But like now, if you were to put me and ask me, you couldn't pay me enough money to go into a cage with a tiger. It's like, no, ship that thing out of here. The thing doesn't belong here. You know what I mean? And I just don't get why everyone's like, oh yeah, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but
No, yeah, even before like all of this, I was never like a big fan of. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm the biggest animal rights activist out there, but I was never a big fan of going to like zoos and I don't know, just fantasizing over being close to these animals that aren't supposed to be here. I think they're pretty cool animals and it's nice to see them, but I think we could also see them in their natural habitat and stuff like that.
I agree.
I think it's just kind of a thing of the past now too. Like that used to be a super cool thing, was to take photos and go to and like have zoos, but I think it's definitely outdated now because everyone's more aware.
Are you suggesting, Emily, that Oklahoma and the Carolinas have outdated practices and are a little behind the times?
I might be suggesting that, but I do not want to be attacked.
I think a state where Joe Exotic gets 11% of the governor vote is a place I want to be.
Same.
Go on and go there.
I wouldn't last a day there. Okay, another, I'd say probably the fourth most important character in the show, step down from those other three though, is Jeff Lowe. This guy who didn't see coming, just comes in as this playboy from Vegas, and who Joe Exotic stupidly turns his zoo into, and it just a classic con man. If you read anything, he comes in in his fancy car. You know, he offers all this stuff, so he's going to change everything. And then I think maybe like 5 minutes pass of the show time. At the episode, he comes in and they're like, yeah, he has a ton of debt. He's bankrupt, all this stuff. It's like, yep, saw that one coming. What do you guys think of his portrayal and character in the show?
He is my least favorite character.
Wow.
I
agree.
I mean, even Doc Antler, like, didn't bother me as much as this guy, because this guy kept acting like he was acting like he was totally with it and how he was so much superior. But then the whole debt thing, he's been in jail. How he talked to his wife, like, everything about him, like, pissed me off. I thought he was a terrible person. If anyone else would like to agree or disagree.
I agree.
I genuinely agree so hard. He just creeped me out so much. Like, it's hard to describe how disgusted I was with him.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's not my cup of tea. I know some people are swingers like he was, but the way that he, like, the only thing that attracted people to him were his cats, and he lived off of that, and that was like the majority of his personality. He had cats and he had, quote, money, but it sketched me out so much. He just seemed like such a predator, and I know that's a common theme throughout this show, but it just bothered me so. It just makes me.
I agree 100%. He's such an irritating person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think there's any more, like, any higher level of compensating for things than bringing Cubs to Vegas and like, yeah, and laying waste to all the women there. That is just screams compensating for everything in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, my cats.
I do have to say, though, Jeff Lowe's introduction into the show brings, to me, in my opinion, the most terrifying character in the show, which is his right-hand man or whatever. I don't. It was an app. What's his name?
I don't know. I thought you were saying it. I just said yes, agreeing with you.
It started with an A. It's the guy
Alan Glover.
Alan, yes.
Look, all these other people are terrible, and we could do a power, like, if you were to do a power ranking of, like, documentary people, or I don't even know, like, people in history, maybe. I mean, these people are, like, these people's traits are right up there, you know, in the top 50. But, like, this man, whenever he was doing an interview, I could see it in his eyes that he has not only seen some stuff, but has done some stuff.
For sure. Yeah, his name's Alan Glover, which just sounds like a felon, in my opinion.
He is.
But, did he have a little teardrop tattoo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he did.
Him.
He was just so scary. He was like Voldemort.
Kind of looks like him.
He does. I'm looking at a picture of him now.
Yeah, and they interviewed him in a bathtub that one time. That just made me feel so uneasy.
Yeah, that they like to do that. Like, it was already disturbing, and they just added to it.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I mean, I think out of any character from the show, I mean, not excusing Joe's actions here, but all I'm saying is, if you're going to hire someone to murder somebody, I mean, Alan's your guy. Like, that was a good pick of talent evaluation right there, in my opinion.
He would get the job done.
Definitely.
But he didn't. Dun, dun, dun.
Still time.
That was so weird, though. Like, I couldn't figure out what was actually happening with that, because as the show begins to end, in the last couple episodes, we get into the plot that Joe Exotic did hire Alan to kill Carole Baskin, and from Oklahoma, Alan started driving, right, all the way to Florida where Carole resides, and I guess him and Jeff Lowe and Joe had this whole, like, scouting of the premises. Also, Google Earth, I mean, along with the state of Oklahoma and other places, takes a big hit during this that they used. Was it Google Earth that they used to scout Carole's, like, bike ride?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Bad publicity all around in this, in the show for some of these companies that get brushed under the rug because of how crazy the show is. But Google Earth, big L
I think
there.
it's going to be fine. Google should be okay after this.
I mean, Google's listening to this now, and it's just going to give me some ads on something and make money off me, so it doesn't matter.
Good.
But, I mean, out of all things, I feel like, obviously, murder for hire, yes, is incomprehensible, but the whole, like, exchange of money, why Alan just stopped and started going to a club and everything, that part, I feel like, might be the most inconceivable, you can't write this in a script moment of the whole show. It ends up getting, I want to say, I had it earlier, Joe has a 22-year federal prison sentence for this. That is, he is serving right now. Crazy.
Well, he got let out because of COVID, right?
No.
I don't think so.
I think he wanted to.
I don't know what I heard.
No, you probably heard because he wanted to get out. He said he didn't feel safe, which I'm sure every single person behind bars wants to use that excuse. He said he didn't feel safe being in prison during this because he thought he would get the virus.
That makes sense. Oh, yeah, it says, is he still in jail? Yes, but he thinks not for long.
I'm glad that's what he thinks.
Did you guys see, like, during Trump's, I don't know if he's still doing them, I haven't been paying attention, but his, like, daily press briefings or whatever, someone asked him if he was going to pardon Joe Exotic. Yeah. It's like, we are in a pandemic. And I may not agree with a lot of what the president says. I think many people will agree with me on that. But we are in a pandemic. And there are, I think, a million other things I would want if I'm a reporter getting White House access, right? Which I imagine has to be very difficult to do. And you ask the president about Joe Exotic, are you shitting me? Like,
yeah. They probably invited back.
Who's that reporter? I'm going to look her up right now.
Okay.
But yeah, so what do we think about the whole scheme?
The whole what?
Like the whole like murder for hire. Because I feel like the payment thing, I never figured out how that was working. Alan just being like, you know what, I don't really want to do it. And also, I thought it was weird because they had played up the whole Joe Exotic hating Jeff Lowe thing, and then he asked his right-hand man to kill someone for him, which also didn't compute for me. So, discuss.
Oh yeah, this is another thing that I found strange because I don't know exactly what the dollar amount was, but I remember it being very low for someone supposedly paying someone else to kill somebody. So I guess like Joe Exotic could use that to his advantage. Be like, if you really think I was going to pay this guy this much amount to kill somebody, you're ridiculous. Because like,
right.
Cause I don't know if you guys know what the dollar amount was, but it was very
5,
low. Yeah.
And he only got paid $3,000.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah, I do remember the 3,000 number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was not what I would think you'd pay for.
Not that any of us know, I'm sure, but like,
not quite familiar.
Yeah, I don't know, like, we might have to talk to the one guy we know who is on the dark web about what the going rate is for murder for hire, because that does seem really low. Like,
then again, it was Oklahoma. Anything could happen.
Yeah,
if they're selling tires for $2,000, they probably just use that scale.
Alan's like, I already killed people for free, so.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I get to get paid for this?
I didn't know this was a career choice. So yeah, Joe is in jail, and I got rid of my page. Hang on, I was gonna say there was something on the on his Wikipedia page. Wikipedia, shout out to them, sponsor of the show. That he filed a lawsuit against the government.
Against the government.
Yes, against the U.S. federal government. Okay, wait, hang on. I'm going to read this paragraph out loud, guys. On March 17th, 2020, Maldonado Passage filed a lawsuit against the U.S. federal government at the Grady County Jail. In the lawsuit, he asks for $94 million from the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. He is also seeking a presidential pardon from Donald Trump and plans to represent himself in the lawsuit. The lawsuit I guess so. I mean, we know how that worked out for Ted. The lawsuit specifies damages by the USFWS of $79 million for the loss of his tigers. He also demands $15 million for false imprisonment.
Interesting.
And a litany of other charges, including the death of his mother, Shirley. The lawsuit also accuses his former business partner, Jeff Lowe, of switching his medicine with illegal drugs and ruining his property.
What?
I'm not surprised by any of those things.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to fish for something. Be like, one of these has to be like hit. I need to get like my way on one of these. So he's probably just throwing any single possibility out there.
Shows how like impulsive and not well thought out he is. That like he'd probably have maybe an okay chance if it wasn't 94 million. Like if it was less than $1 million, I don't know. But
yeah, how did he come up with that?
Yeah, like did he go and calculate damages in $94 million? I'm not sure.
Do you think he has a lawyer that's telling him these things, or is he just ignoring everyone?
He's representing himself. Like
right.
I don't know.
I feel like maybe Joe Exotic's the kind of guy that had a lawyer at one point in his life, and then he's just like, these people suck. They're telling me I'm wrong and all this stuff. Like he wants yes men. Also, we've been saying how much percent of the terrible English, what percent of the governor he had. Governorship. He was 19% for the Libertarian.
Wow.
Good for him.
So, but like, also, I feel like now that I read this, the show misconstrued this. So, it was in the Libertarian primary that he was running in. It wasn't for governor.
oh,
So, as a result, as you guys know, I mean, Libertarian's probably the third most popular party, I would say. However, obviously Republican and Democrat are insanely popular. So, where I thought Joe had like 1 million people vote for him, because I don't think Oklahoma is that small of a state, he received 660 votes out of 3,600.
oh, I feel misled.
So, I guess now, after shaming Oklahoma for 42 minutes of this episode, Oklahoma, you have a little bit more respect now.
I'm sorry, Oklahoma.
I also want to know, like, what these, before this documentary, like, what the people of Oklahoma thought of Joe Exotic, because was he, like, a big celebrity in the state? Was he just, like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
For a little bit, I thought that people would see him as this great guy because of how often he would feed the homeless on Thanksgiving, or the needy on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the only real thing other than giving people jobs, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good question.
it's not the only thing. He's also a country singer.
Oh,
He's not. I wanted him to be good at singing, but it's not his voice.
Maybe it's
okay.
not his voice.
It's like half his voice. On like half of the songs he did sing, but like the other half he didn't, and it was just him lip syncing.
What?
Yeah.
I forgot who the real singer is, but it's not him. That's not his authentic voice.
He's a great lip syncer. I believed it.
I did.
I thought the Carole Baskin song was the best song in the world.
I'm trying to see if I can find it. Like, find his
They're
albums.
not on Spotify yet.
That's what I looked for. Yet. Like, they're going to be, like, Spotify's going to carry that? Are you kidding me?
I'm waiting for it. I feel like
I think I saw it on Apple Music.
Really?
Oh, God, it is on Apple Music.
Yeah.
Go back to the Apple Music.
Oh, my. I love that, though, like, was the whole show, like, the score, was it all him? Like, because they played his music a lot, or his lip sync music or whatever, during the series, excuse me.
Maybe that was, I wonder how much say he had to, like, what went on, like, what they showed of him and all that stuff. Like, was he the creative director of the documentary, or was it just more like, we're going to put whatever we wanted to use?
I want to think that he kind of signed away his rights to certain things because of the beginning of the contract with, who was the director?
Oh, I'll get the name.
Rick
Isn't his name?
Kirkham?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he said that, like, remember, all this was because he wanted to have his video series done, And Rick was like, all right, whatever, do that, sign here, and I get to film whatever I want to, kind of thing.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, it's directed by Eric Good, who he's an animal lover. He has a organization that is to protect turtles.
Oh yeah, so that's we didn't really touch on this, how the whole thing started, and I don't know exactly how like Netflix started producing this. I guess is that one dude you just mentioned, Eric. I think that's what you said. He was gonna do a documentary about like animal rights and whatever, and he started. I think I forget what he was filming, and then someone.
Great, the reptile.
Yeah. And then someone pulled up in a van with a tiger, with a snow leopard, and then he's like, "Holy crap, that's a snow leopard! Why do people have snow leopards in Florida?" And then like, it all started to unwind.
Wow, that's crazy to think about.
Born.
So here's something that I found. So Chris Smith, you don't know who he is because he is the most basic white name in history. But this Chris Smith, who was a producer on Tiger King, wrote and directed another landmark documentary for Netflix. Can any of you guess what it is?
The OJ Files.
No.
Oh.
No, I have no idea.
With cats.
Fire, the greatest party that never happened.
Oh.
It all makes
That's
sense.
my favorite. Oh, wow.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I
So there you go.
That was my first podcast appearance.
That's
How
right.
did I forget that?
That's right. So is anybody redeemable in this show? Anybody at all?
Joe Exotic is doing his time, so
He's appealing it though. It's wrong according to
whatever.
him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Carole Baskin's lost cause. No one, like, she's stuck to her ways. She thinks she's like the savior of all tigers.
Yeah,
Doc Antler, I think he's going to be continuing doing what he can until he gets stopped. So I don't know.
I mean, the workers who were pretty innocent, like the blonde guy Eric and the other guy John, they definitely, they weren't really at fault for anything. But I think everyone's already kind of, they like them. But Jeff Lowe, no. What about the other guy? The plump one?
The fundraiser guy? Not the fundraiser. The government guy, the libertarian.
Was he a libertarian?
The campaign manager. Are you talking
No,
about him?
not him. James.
Oh, he was so weird and funny. I think he was my favorite character.
Yeah, he was, they all just had issues. Every single one of them. Not one of them was normal. They'd get on there and talk crap about someone else. And then another person would be like, oh, well, he has this and this and against him. So you really can't like anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's truly tough. Is Eric the one that doesn't have legs, or is that another guy?
That's John.
John doesn't have legs.
Doesn't have legs. Eric has the blonde, shaggy hair.
You know who Eric reminded me of? Because I started watching this at the same time. Is one of Ruth's uncles in Ozark?
I agree.
Not Russ, but the other one.
Looks like
Yeah, he does look like a Langmore.
Yeah, he could definitely be one.
Yeah, they should have put like Ruth. I don't know what her actor's name is, but they should have put Ruth in this. Just could have really used her energy on the in GW Zoo. It would have been really helpful.
I know this off topic, but have you guys? I know Emily has, but have Zach and Katie? Have you heard her speak without her southern twang?
No.
It's so crazy.
I don't know if I want to hear it. I feel like that'll be ruining the magic.
I saw her doing an acceptance speech because she won Best Supporting Actress and then the Emmys, I think, last year for her role in Ozark. And it's just crazy how different she sounds.
Ugh. Spooky.
Julia Garner. She was in Perks of Being a Wallflower. I didn't watch that movie, but good for
Wait,
her.
really?
That's crazy.
Yeah. 2012.
Oh,
She's been in The Americans. There's a bunch
She's
of other
in-
movies.
Waco, like about the Colton, Texas, Waco, Texas. I want to watch that.
Yeah,
could
that
be-
looks like a good show or movie. Is it a show or a movie?
I think it's a show, like a limited series kind of thing.
Huh.
She is married to the lead vocalist of Foster the People. Fun fact.
Oh, you're learning a lot.
Riverdale.
Wikipedia is so good today for this episode. This is fantastic.
26 years old. Wow.
Yep. Went to Indiana. Go Hoosiers.
Good job, Julia.
So proud. I want to do one on Ozark in a couple weeks once we actually finish. So
Oh, you guys have to finish.
we will.
Where are you on in the series, Zach?
Halfway through season 2.
Yeah, no, I think we're a little past halfway. We watched 2 episodes yesterday.
Like episode 7-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the best series ever.
I love it. So, I thought I had a question to end the show, but I don't know. Who is everyone's favorite character from this? All in all, who did you enjoy the most? Go one by one.
Probably James Garretson, the businessman, the one who owned a strip club and rides on jet skis. He was just a bundle of joy, one thing after another. It was like,
that the fat
I was
guy?
spying for the feds.
Yeah,
I
it's
was working
the
for the
fat guy.
feds. He was a very active person in all of this while being very subtle behind the scenes. So I appreciate his work ethic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think mine would be the campaign manager. Let me find his name because I don't want to do him a disservice. But is it? Yeah. Okay, Joshua. I think he was the most wholesome character. I think he really was in it for the good. He didn't dabble in the bad, and I just think he was so pathetically adorable.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious when he came in, like, episode 4 or something like that, and we already saw how much of a dumpster fire everything was, and he comes in like, this is my dream job. I'm so excited. We're like, oh, buddy. You have no
Good for
clue.
you.
That guy,
Chill.
I also want to point out, he saw a suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently it wasn't meant to happen.
What?
According to Tyler, I think his name was Tyler. He didn't mean to kill himself. He was like, yeah, this gun, it won't fire without a clip in it. Look, and put it to his head and shot himself on accident.
Yeah.
It's Travis.
Travis. Yeah.
Wow.
That was kind of rough to watch in the interviews.
So my favorite character, I think it might be the legless John guy. Because he came into, I think he lost his legs even before he started working the zoo. So the fact that he decided to work in a freaking tiger zoo without legs, pretty, I don't know. He has nothing to lose, and he just seemed like a pretty decent guy. Just
Nice. I like that.
he's a nice dude.
I agree.
I think I'm with you, Sal. I feel like that's my favorite character, too. He was just, like, honest, but also not ruthlessly mean. He was just like, this is what happened. I was there. Like, I like animals, but, like, this was terrible at the end. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wonder, is GW Zoo still open?
It can't be. There's no way.
Let's see. We can
Actually,
that. All right.
Thing saying they were closed for the pandemic. Meaning they were open before. I could be wrong.
I think, what's his name is still running it.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the park received thousands of visitors following the release of the documentary, so great job, Netflix. You're funding exactly what you thought you were ending. Brilliant. On March 31st, 2020, the Oklahoma sheriff said the park had closed due to the coronavirus. So at the end of the day, the coronavirus ruins everything.
Something's good. Something's bad.
Okay, we're about to hit an hour, roughly, of this. Do we have any lasting thoughts for the people who have seen it and for those who may not have yet because they were skeptical?
I think if you need any more closure, watch the extra episode. It just gives you a little bit more information where the members of the cast and crew were able to voice their opinions on how they felt they were portrayed. But it wasn't really entertaining. So
Yeah.
if you want more, look at it just for the facts, but don't look at it for another good time.
I think that if you haven't watched it, go in with the sense of it just being completely crazy, and you'll find yourself enjoying it. And obviously, I think we all know the animal abuse in it is terrible, and I felt like they didn't need to necessarily address it in the documentary directly because it was so apparent. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I agree.
Did you guys feel like it was too long? Like, could have been like 5 episodes instead of 7?
I think it was fine.
I like the amount. I could have kept watching.
Me too.
Yeah, I think it was good. Not too long. I don't think it was too long. I don't think it was too short. I think it was perfect. I think if they would have done 10 episodes, that would have been a lot.
For sure.
But,
Yeah. Do you think we'll see like a spin-off series of anything? I think that Doc Antler.
they have to.
His
Yeah.
time's coming.
They're gonna do like a casted show because they've already tried casting people for it.
Wow.
I did see that. People were talking about a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Who would play Joe Exotic?
I saw some things like Matthew McConaughey because he could totally
Oh no!
into that. The guy from I cannot think of his name. He's married to Kristen Bell. Dak Shepard. He really wants to play.
Oh, interesting.
And then some people think Margot Robbie to play Joe Exotic.
That would be so funny.
I know.
Oh,
It can really add to it.
I would love to see that.
I love McConaughey, but I mean, I think he should have skipped this one. Like, he's like in a different stratosphere than what I feel like this requires.
Well, Dak Shepard
Yeah.
wants to do it, so.
Give Leo another Oscar with this.
Oh, true.
Oh man, nah, he's already getting one with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He should have. Sorry,
I agree.
Yeah.
but I forgot they already had the Oscars for that set of movies. Maybe they'll just like do another Oscars for last year's movies since it was really good. Since we're not going to get any this year.
Maybe it'll all be online.
Oh my goodness. We could host our own Oscars.
That's a good idea. We could have it hosted by Oscar.
Maybe if he ever texted us back. There you go. And he definitely didn't listen to this, so it doesn't matter that I just said that. So, anyway. just a quick drive-by on Buddy there. Well, guys, thank you all for doing this. It was really fun. I think we hit all of the points that we hit in the same chaotic fashion as the show itself, so I think it was great. And stay safe.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get too sick of your families. Love you all.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Happy early
Stay
birthday.
safe.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.